Welcome to Kids Leisure Time. Hello kids, today we are going to learn about verb. What is verb? A verb is a word that tells an action. A verb tells what we do. Now we learn about action verbs. Are you ready to explore a world of exciting actions together? Let's go. The cat sleeps peacefully. The word sleeps is a word that tells an action. Sleeps is a verb. She dances gracefully. The word dances is a word that tells an action. Dances is a verb. They jump joyfully. The word jump is a word that tells an action. Jump is a verb. She runs quickly. The word runs is a word that tells an action. Runs is a verb. The dog barks loudly. The word barks is a word that tells an action. Barks is a verb. The flowers bloom beautifully. The word bloom is a word that tells an action. Bloom is a verb. The children laugh loudly. The word laugh is a word that tells an action. Laugh is a verb. The birds chirp happily. The word chirp is a word that tells an action. Chirp is a verb. The wind blows softly. The word blows is a word that tells an action. Blows is a verb. The baby cries loudly. The word cries is a word that tells an action. Cries is a verb. The sun shines brightly. The word shines is a word that tells an action. Shines is a verb. The bee buzzes around. The word buzzes is a word that tells an action. Buzzes is a verb. She sings melodiously. The word sings is a word that tells an action. Sings is a verb. He swims skillfully. The word swims is a word that tells an action. Swims is a verb. The horse gallops swiftly. The word gallops is a word that tells an action. Gallops is a verb. They play happily. The word play is a word that tells an action. Play is a verb. The clock ticks rhythmically. The word ticks is a word that tells an action. Ticks is a verb. The car honks loudly. The word honks is a word that tells an action. Honks is a verb. The river flows smoothly. The word flows is a word that tells an action. Flows is a verb. The butterfly flutters gracefully. The word flutters is a word that tells an action. Flutters is a verb. He climbs the tree carefully. The word climbs is a word that tells an action. Climbs is a verb. She reads quietly. The word reads is a word that tells an action. Reads is a verb. The train chugs along. The word chugs is a word that tells an action. Chugs is a verb. The clock strikes 12. The word strikes is a word that tells an action. Strikes is a verb. The windmill spins fast. The word spins is a word that tells an action. Spins is a verb. The baby crawls slowly. The word crawls is a word that tells an action. Crawls is a verb. The chef cooks deliciously. The word cooks is a word that tells an action. Cooks is a verb. They walk together. The word walk is a word that tells an action. Walk is a verb. The dog wags its tail. The word wags is a word that tells an action. Wags is a verb. She paints beautifully. The word paints is a word that tells an action. Paints is a verb. He swings on the swing. The word swings is a word that tells an action. Swings is a verb. The teacher teaches patiently. The word teaches is a word that tells an action. Teaches is a verb. The rain falls gently. The word falls is a word that tells an action. Falls is a verb. The kite flies high. The word flies is a word that tells an action. Flies is a verb. The fire burns brightly. The word burns is a word that tells an action. Burns is a verb. She drives the car carefully. The word drives is a word that tells an action. Drives is a verb. The squirrel scampers up the tree. The word scampers is a word that tells an action. Scampers is a verb. The baby giggles joyfully. The word giggles is a word that tells an action. Giggles is a verb. The bee stings painfully. The word stings is a word that tells an action. Stings is a verb. The mouse nibbles on the cheese. The word nibbles is a word that tells an action. Nibbles is a verb. The snake slithers silently. The word slithers is a word that tells an action. Slithers is a verb. The leaves rustle softly. The word rustle is a word that tells an action. Rustle is a verb. The frog croaks loudly. The word croaks is a word that tells an action. Croaks is a verb. Don't forget to hit the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to stay up to date with all the excitement.